Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with a bad habit. Bye up, bye up. Let's get to this intro. This is a good one, as promised. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate all the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. So as promised, I told you I was going to bring you guys the Emmanuels law new bill that is proposed to go to Senate, to go to Congress. This is what's happening behind the scenes. This is the type of thing that this whole incident has sparked, right? It has sparked a flame with people like myself and others that I've talked to. That's how I was able to get this bill proposal. Not a lot of people have this. This is in its entirety, and I'm going to be showing you guys. In fact, I'm going to have it scroll through. I'm going to read a little bit of it. But this bill has been written by a couple people together to help, to help the children that are being returned to their parents when their parents have neglect issues, child cruelty, abuse. It's to help so that these children never have to go back to a situation like this. They are calling it Emmanuel's Law, or the National Child Protection through Accountability and Safety Act of 2025. And as we speak, it is right now sitting on a representative's desk. There's being action taken behind the scenes. Someone got at me yesterday and they were like, hey, Gun, I see everybody utilizing this baby's name, using baby Emanuel's name for whatever, whether it be monetarily or whatever they're doing it for, right? But I don't see people really out there with a search party looking for the baby. And I replied, because basically he was trying to point at me like, hey, you're using the baby's name, but I don't see you out there on the front lines, man, looking for the baby. Well, first and foremost, this is an ongoing investigation, and I would be a dummy, and anyone else would be, without the authorization of the law, man, to go out there and put together a search party and take evidence, impede the progress of an investigation. You can't do that, man. But what we can do is a lot of other things. We can bring awareness on our channels. We can utilize our platforms so that way other children don't have to go through situations like this. And the more people that hear about this story, the more outreach that we can make or get, the better off another child could be. You could be saving a child's life, right? The way I'm doing it is like this. I'm behind a petition. I'm also behind this bill with several others. And we're trying to make a difference, not only statewide, but nationally, meaning federally, right? This is not a bill that was written just from state to state. This is written with the perception that hopefully it can go to the federal, it can get passed federally, and then it can be implemented nationwide in all the states. So I'm going to read a little bit of this to you, and then I'm going to let it scroll and do its thing. This is the draft bill proposal, which was set already. The Emmanuel's Law, the National Child Protection through Accountability and Safety Act of 2025, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Emmanuel's Law or the National Child Protection through Accountability and Safety Act of 2025, meaning that's the title. That's the name of it. Someone did mention to me it should be called Emmanuel's Promise Law. This is already written up. It's already forwarded. So I don't know if they could take the title of it later and change it, or if they would, or if it is that serious, man. I would hope that this law, in fact, just being implemented, just being used, can help nationwide. So it doesn't really matter the name of it, right? But it definitely is known as the Emmanuel's Law. Findings: Congress finds that the child abuse and neglect are a nationwide crisis resulting in the injury, disappearance, or death. And let me scroll this. Death of thousands of children annually. Current child protection systems are fragmented, inconsistent between states, and insufficient to prevent convicted or habitual abusers from retaining custody of guardianship Convicted child abusers have, in certain jurisdictions, been granted custody of unsupervised visitation, creating unacceptable risks, right? Repeat and severe offenders pose a heightening and ongoing danger, requiring permanent termination of parental rights and stricter penalties, right? Existing registries and tracking systems fail to adequately prevent offenders from evading detection when crossing state lines. Federal intervention and oversights are necessary to create a unified, accountable, and enforceable child protection framework. I'm going to let it roll. I'm not going to read you the whole thing. It's going to go on repeat for you guys to read it. I wanted to make sure I put the full bill up there so that people know that there is being work done behind the scenes, that this crime has sparked an outcry from people, and there are people that really feel a certain way. You know, myself being one of them. I stand behind this 100%. And this is basically written so saying that Jake, okay, when Jake was convicted of the crime of willful child cruelty to promise, you know, he should have never been around children. He should have never been in that household. He should have lost all parental rights, period, to be around a child, and should have been put on a registry, kind of like sex offenders are put on, you know, the Megan's Law or whatever registry they're put on, that they want to build a registry for habitual abusers, child abusers, basically. If this was the case, then maybe that could have prevented baby Emanuel from having to go through this. That could have prevented baby Emanuel from being probably born, you know? And it's unfortunate that it took the death of a baby, right? For to gain awareness and for us to implement some type of act. But this is something that I believe that we need. This is something that can change everything. You know, justice isn't just in the household. Justice isn't just Jake and Rebecca getting time. What type of fucking justice is that? If you guys remember a case in New Mexico about almost 20 years ago, there was a woman and her cousins and her boyfriends and whatever that got convicted for killing a little baby, a newborn baby, baby Brianna. I hate talking about the situation because it's that was pretty much the worst, most heinous thing I ever seen in my life. This baby was covered in bruises, fractures, multiple fractures that showed that it didn't just happen one time. It was consistent with multiple abusive situations, right? Anyways, they end up getting convicted, but because the law in New Mexico wasn't up to par, the mother got out. She got out after doing 13 years. She allowed these guys, and I'm gonna do a video on baby Brianna pretty soon, man. I've done one before, and YouTube shot it down. That's how horrific it is. Hopefully, I could do it again, but differently this time. But it sucks that people like that were able to get away. She was able to get out of prison after 13 years and just disappear, right? Change her name, whatever she did, and she's gone. And the men in the situation, the ones who actually did the abuse, because she just enabled and allowed it to happen. But the guys who actually did it, that she did not stop, that she let do this to her child, they got a little bit more of a harsher punishment, but a lot of them got sent out of state. You know, they protected their names. It's weird how they protect these type of individuals. You know, so basically justice doesn't end at the prison door, at the prison gate when that gate clacks. No, that's not justice. Justice is a situation like this, what you're reading. Justice is the people that are willing to go out there and try to create a bill that will help our children in the future. You know, whatever has happened to baby Manuel, to Promise, to Genesis, to Gabriel Fernandez, to Brianna, and to several others, man, that's happened. We can't take that back, but we can do the best that we can to prevent it from happening in the future, right? There's a lot of people that have gotten at me and they're like, hey, if Jake and Rebecca are convicted, then that's that. You know, they'll suffer punishment in prison. Not necessarily. You got Pearl Fernandez running around there. Yeah, she gets ran up on here and there every once in a while, but she's breathing, she's living, she's eating. She's able to watch television. She's able to take a good shower and feel good. You know how you feel good after a shower? These little things. When people abuse children and they kill them and they hurt them, they should not be allowed these types of things anymore, right? Period. But these are the things that they're able to enjoy in life. You know, being incarcerated sucks. I've done time several years, right? And it sucks, right? The creature comforts you miss, being away from your family you miss, Certain things suck about it, right? But you're still breathing. You're still alive. Like I said, you can still take a shower. You're still eating. You're still surviving. These babies don't have that chance anymore. Okay, you have Promise, who's paraplegic, basically, right? A vegetable. She cannot see. She cannot basically not talk. She could barely breathe. They have to clean out her breathing tube every day. And this is all because of Jake and Vanessa Avina, right? His wife at the time. But Jake was able to do all this. And I already know, we've already said it before, the district attorney didn't file the correct. This is what people are saying. This is just a word out there that and people are blaming the district attorney and the judge, but the district attorney, according to the people, did not file the correct charges that would have got Jake the time that he needed to get, right? They said it should have been more than willful cruelty to a child. This is what the statutes, this is what the laws, and this is the reason why we have to try to change the laws federally. Because sometimes, man, there's loopholes, and Jake's lawyer was able to get around. The Timu lawyer, he was able to get around these fucking loopholes. He was able to find a loophole, right, to make that judge believe that this guy wasn't as bad of a creature or a fucking monster than he was. And the judge took it easy on him, thinking he could be reformed. Well, I'm here to tell you, them types of fucking people can't be reformed. He shouldn't have never been reformed. He should have been deformed. But it just is what it is. But this law right here, and I'm going to play it again in its entirety, man, so you guys can continue to read it. This Emmanuel's law is to find these individuals that are basically serial abusers, people who have been convicted of it, that they lose all guardianship of their children, that they cannot be around children at all. They're untrustworthy. We want to establish a national child abuse offender registry to ensure accountability and prevent offenders from avoiding detection. They could be your next door neighbors. They could be your family members. You don't want your children around them either, not just their children, but also yours. Prohibit individuals convicted of child abuse, sexual abuse, severe neglect, or related offenses from obtaining custody, guardianship, adoption, or unsupervised visitation rights. Mandate permanent termination of parental rights or for repeat or severe offenders. Provide federal oversight, accountability, and funding mechanisms to strengthen state compliance. Ensure that protecting children is treated as a national priority and a shared responsibility across all jurisdictions. For the purposes of the act, these are the people that it's going to affect. Habitual child abuser, an individual with 2 or more substantiated reports of child protective services in the state within a 10-year period, 2 or more convictions of child abuse, neglect, or endangerment. That means you have to be, they can't just call your baby mama or your baby daddy can't just call the CPS on you. They have to find justification for taking the babies from your home. Severe child abuse conducting resulting in death or permanent injury. That's Jake right there. Registry, the National Child Abuse Offender Registry, established under Section 4, custody restriction, the prohibition, what is it? Can't have your kid anymore, right? Prohibiting you from having your kid. Excuse me, I just woke up this morning. I'm tired. I had a long night. The Attorney General shall establish and maintain a public registry. And then it goes into more. And that's prohibition. I know how to say it. I just fucking lost my speech right there. Section 6, sentencing and parental guidelines, mandatory sentencing enhancements. Court shall impose extended prison terms and heightened penalties for repeat offenders. That's a good one. These guys like Jake that were getting away with it. There's nothing you could really do. It's up to the judge on the first offense, which I know this was Jake's first offense of child abuse. So he was within his rights to impose whatever, reprimands or whatever penalties he wanted. But at the end of the day, this Emmanuel's law will go into effect and make it harder for judges to take it upon themselves to just let these weirdos out, or for the protection of these weirdos to stop this stuff. We need something like this in hand. And this is something that was written meticulously, methodically. It's something that's there to help our children. Federal authority, emergency protections. Federal authorities may intervene in state cases when immediate risk to a child exists and state remedies are inadequate. They are authorized to be appropriated such sums as it may be necessary to carry out this act, including grants from state compliance, technology, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is a joint effort. If we can get it passed, and I say we because I'm behind it 100%. If we can get something like this passed, right, this Emmanuel law, then it will go to Congress. Federally, it would get passed, and then it would be distributed out to the states, meaning they'll have to comply. This is just something, this is all behind, and people have been trying to do this for years, but with this Emanuel case, right, Jake and Rebecca Harrell, maybe some good could come out of it, because so much horror has come out of that. So maybe some good could come out of it, where people can get behind this. You can sign the petition. Again, I'm going to try to bring you the hard copy of the petition. It hasn't been sent to me yet, but it will be on its way, most definitely. And these are the types of things I'm trying to do with my channel. The haters that are like, hey, he's just trying to use this, baby. No. Right? I want to bring awareness now. Okay. This case has touched a lot of our hearts, and we're willing to stand 10 toes down in the field like this to make it happen. Like I said, this was sent to me personally by a person involved with the drafting of it. And when you do read it in its entirety, you realize, there's a lot of good there. Is it going to be something that's passed immediately? Well, that's up to our government. And I think we all know by now, they take their time. They have to vet things thoroughly. And also, when it comes to weirdos, there seems to be a theme right there, right? That these people are taken care of, or they're never given the sufficient amount of time that they need to be given. Look, I'm going to be real, man. These weirdo sex offenders, child killers and all that never seem to get the time that they deserve, right? Is it just me, or or have you noticed? Someone like Jake, who fractures a skull, who chokes a kid, who makes her into a vegetable, basically, pobrecita, promise, right? Who him and his wife, because Vanessa Avina was not innocent, right? Rebecca wasn't even there yet. She came later, another tonta, right? But we're talking about, they did this to a child, and then he's not even given jail time or prison time. He has to go pick up some trash on the side of the road and do a parenting class, which, according to the counselors, he passed with flying colors. We need to do better if we knew better. And now we do. Myself, other individuals are not just taking it to the streets. We're taking it to Congress, right? So join me in reading this. Join me in doubling down and recognizing, man, that I'm trying my platform to go in a different direction. And I want to help the children. I want to help the mothers, the single mothers that need it. I want to help different types of people that have been getting neglected, that I've been taking for granted, even myself, by not being out there on the forefront doing these types of things. Now, that doesn't mean that my content is going to be about this all the time. I'm a content creator. I'm going to create some content. There's a lot of stories out there happening in the world, but I wanted to bring a lot of awareness to this, man. And I think I'm doing a good job. And I think you can tell I'm very passionate about it, man. My whole thing is, let's get this passed to help kids from going through this in the future, what baby Emanuel had to go through. Let's make this the Emmanuel promise law, something that we could look back and carry on their name forever. I love that our legacy or our names don't just die with us, that we can do something in life that can carry on our legacy and our name forever, make a mark in the world, right? For something good, not something bad. I've made a lot of marks for bad in my life. You go to my neighborhood, a lot of guys remember me for bad, for gang-related incidences or getting caught up on a murder, or just all these different things that my name, when my name is said. But now, maybe I could be behind something where it's like, hey, I remember when I first seen that, it was on Gunners Collective. And that right there brings nothing but a smile to my face, that I could help these kids that are not getting recognized. So anyways, with that being said, let me know what you guys think. You guys are able to reread this. It's the draft bill proposal. Again, this is on the desk of a representative right now. They are reading this. And now it's kind of, the ball's in their court. It's up to them. We're going to find out exactly what they want to do with it. But this could prevent fucking animals like Jake from being around children again, or having never been around, because a lot of these guys, man, they get that slap on the wrist and they're right back in the home and they're creating children. And I think there also needs to be a bill that's passed where it's like, if women that are caught up with men or enablers or do this, man, they shouldn't be allowed to just fucking go have kids and be with these men. And it could get deeper. I understand you can't violate human rights and there's certain things you can't do, but I'm all for the man and the woman both being punished the same. And again, this doesn't say man nor woman. This is any individual, because there's a lot of women that also neglect their children. And I like where it says severe neglect, because there's a lot of people that have homes that are just dirty. They don't pay attention to their children. There's not the proper food, nutrition. Just there's a lot of things that this can entail, man. If you have children, then you know what time it is, man. So you always got to have that box of cake cereal going on. Anyways, with that being said, man, my whole thing right now is to bring baby Emanuel home. I don't care how they find him, where they find him, if it's his remains or whatever. Let's bring him home. Two, the conviction of Jake and Rebecca Haro. They'll get their their justice and due process, but let's fucking convict these animals, and then let's see this bill get passed. With that being said, I'm just trying to do what I can do. Assist me in doing it. Things like joining my membership, where I'll be posting more things like this, exclusives that I can't really put out there. So if you want, you can join my membership. That'll help. And you can join it at the lowest cost, because they're going to be haters. Oh, he's just trying to charge you for whatever. No, I'm not. But it helps. It helps me to, to get active with the case like this. Anyways, man, thumbs up or thumbs. The haters make me mad, man, because no matter what I do, I get hated on. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people. I appreciate you guys. Gracias.